चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्
Hari Om, Nilesh and Malvika, thank you so much for that beautiful singing. It's just about 8 o'clock and Swamiji has joined us. So I'd like to welcome Swamiji. Let me highlight him. There we go. Welcome Swamiji, and please continue the discourse. We're on the third day of Swamiji's discourse about chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita.
Fourth day.
Oh, fourth day, sorry. And I want to remind people about the opportunity to offer Guru Dakshina. I'll post that link in the chat box if anyone is interested in the Guru Dakshina.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Vasudev Vasutam Devam Kamsachanunamardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. In this chapter of Gnan and Vignan Yoga, we are in the section of seeing Vignan. Jnanam, once it is acquired, it should transform us in our living, in our day-to-day life. If it does not transform us, then it cannot be called Jnanam. In fact, it becomes a burden that we have acquired. Bhagavan Krishna presents to us the absolute knowledge of the truth. And that absolute knowledge of the truth should necessarily change our behavior with this pluralistic world that we deal with in the transactional reality, day in, day out, every waking moment of our life. That's why Pujya Gurudev's book is also called Every Breath a Teaching. Every breath that he took, that breath was filled with the presence of awareness. The awareness is invoked, and it is that awareness which is brought to the surface when the man of wisdom greets this pluralistic world. When we look at this world, we look at this world with a lens of vasanas. We have a cloudy lens through which we are looking at, and thus whatever we look, we are superimpositioning our own individual ideas, thoughts, emotions, and feelings upon this world. So we do not see the world as it is, but we see the world the way our mind wants to see it. When that happens, then we are under a terrible force of vasana janita vrittis, all thought patterns which are generated by vasanas. The reason why Bhagavan presents knowledge is that our vrittis should originate, vritti meaning thoughts, our thoughts should originate from knowledge and not from vasanas. When our thoughts originate from the knowledge which we have acquired, that knowledge about the absolute learns to see the world in the light of the absolute and not according to the light of vasanas within us. And thus Vijnan is when we invoke knowledge and learn to see a world new from the standpoint of knowledge. Thus, in the definition of Purana Purushottama, Shankaracharya ji gives the definition Pura api nava, the most ancient yet ever new. Ever new because the thought is incredibly fresh. It is fresh with the awareness of the presence and not with the stinking odor of vasana janita desire. And thus Vijnanam is very, very important. To see that absolute, we have to learn to see that absolute the way it is designed to be seen. And thus Bhagavan presents Jnanam first. And in all these shlokas that we saw towards the end yesterday, all this, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam viddhi partha sanatanam buddhi buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. I am the brilliance in the brilliant. I am the intelligence in the intelligent. I am the very seed of all beings. I am the fragrance of the earth. I am the brightness of the sun. All these things are born out of understanding. I am the sapidity in the water. Rasoham apsu kaunteya, prabhasmi shashi suryayoho. All this Bhagavan is mentioning, he's just giving few pointers, and we have to add our pointers throughout the day. In all that we greet, Vastu, Vyakti, and Paristiti. In all Vastu objects, Vyakti in all beings, Paristiti in all situations. We have to learn to see Bhagavan and not color them with our own Vasana Janita Vrittis. Thus, over here, Balam Balavatam Asmi, I am the strength in the stronger. I am the strength in the strong person. Kamaraga Vivarjitam. I am the desire in that person who has the desire, but that desire is devoid of rag. Rag is what? A desire to even possess or attachment. I am the desire without the attachment. That is called nirmal desire. And that can only be offered at the feet of Bhagavan. Very beautifully, Shankaracharya ji also so beautifully says over here, aprapta vastuni kam. That which we do not possess, a desire to possess that is a desire. Prapta vastuni raga. And that which we have acquired, a desire to hold on to it is rag. But the desire of a person is to get more and more desirable objects and hold on to them. And even in the absence of the possession of the objects, there is still a lingering desire which creates anger towards the obstacle which did not allow us to possess it. That is the downfall of man. So very beautifully over here, Kama Raga Vivarjitam. I am this nirmal desire devoid of rag. And only in a man of wisdom I shall do this work, for I am privileged. People ask Gurudev, towards the end of his life, and they couldn't even say, what will happen after you die. So they would just say, Gurudev, what will happen to this mission when? And then they won't even want to say it. And then he would say it when I die, right? I am going to die. And then after that, you are also going to die. We are all going to die. But I have served my Lord Narayana through my work of this mission. And if my disciples see it worthy, they will continue. And if not, I have done my job of serving Narayana. Imagine such a huge institution he created. Not a wee bit of desire to possess it or preserve it. He didn't even name his successor. He said, my disciples will figure it out. A man of wisdom ever serves for every waking moment is a privilege. Privilege to serve him. This we have to invoke. ये अपने आप कभी भी नहीं आएगा. It won't come by itself. We just heard Akhila Brahmandama Ek tu Shri Hari Jujve Rupe Ananta Bhase. In this entire Brahmand, this one Hari, like mirage waters which dance on the charred fields of desert. The water which appears in the same way, the appearance in this world is on Shri Hari. And we have to bring that into our understanding. When we see the mirage and we see water, we have to remind ourselves, there's no water over here. In the same way, when we see the world of objective reality, we have to realize it is a projection, both of my mind and the total mind. My mind projection is called Samsara, and the total projection is called Jagat. That's all. My mind leaks out of my senses, takes a stock of the Jagat, adds masala to it, brings it back, and that is called Samsara. When the Jagat is taken and tadka is done with kamana and vasanas, the recipe produces samsara. But when we don't do tadka on Jagat, when we don't season this Jagat, and we see it for what it is, then what we are seeing is ante to hemano hemche. That which is gold alone appears as so many different ornaments. We call it the earring, the bangles, the anklets, the necklace. You remove the form, you remove the name, and what remains is gold alone. In the same way, this world is only absolute reality. But we have to force ourselves to see it. That is Vijnana. And when we practice it enough, we learn to live in awareness consciousness. And when we live in this awareness consciousness over a period of time, our entire transaction changes, our vision changes. We are easily able to enter Nirvana Shatakam without any effort. Because seeing it, we don't see it. That is what Bhagavan is very beautifully saying it. Balam balavatam asmi kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu. That kam, dharma viruddha. It is that kamana is not against dharma. It is in line with dharma, but devoid of the ability to hold on to it, devoid of desire and attachment. I am in all beings. Kamosmi bharatarshabha. I am this desire devoid of this dharma which is against righteousness. That means I am in line with righteousness. That is the desire which has created this world. There is a principle of truth. What I was referring to as Satyam, Satswarup, Chitswarup, Ananda Swarup, and Ananta Swarup, that Satvastu, existence, is truth. It is, it is, it is. And that existence, that truth, gives support to righteousness. And that alone upholds dharma. Dharma aviruddho bhuteshu, over here, sorry. Unopposed to dharma. Dharmo viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharattarshava. I am this pristine desire which is unopposed to dharma. That is who I am. So what do we take from this shloka? We have to abide in our own swadharma. And whatever others are doing, they are doing according to their swadharma, or they are doing according to what they think is their swadharma, but it is none of our business. Our dharma is our business. That is Vijnana. To poke our nose in somebody else's matter is not our purpose of life. We are not the general managers of the universe. Ishwar is sitting, let him do his job. So for Vijnana, we have to learn to stay put with our own dharma. Continuing, ye chaiva sattvika bhavaha rajasas tamasaschaye matta eveti tan viddhi natvaham teshu te mai. So over here Bhagavan is saying, ye chaiva yat cha eva sattvika bhavaha rajasaha tamasaschaye. So this entire pluralistic world of phenomenon which we call Maya in the Vedantic literature, this Maya is referred to as Trigunatmika Maya. It has three gunas: the Sattva guna, the Rajo guna, and the Tamo guna. The Sattvic guna is responsible for the creation of it. The Rajo guna is responsible for the maintenance of it. And Tamo guna is responsible for the dissolution of it. This is how the cyclic motion of creation is maintained within itself. And these three gunas, they create what Gurudev used to call a climatic conditions in each one of us prakriti, and it sets a thermostat in each one of us to behave accordingly. Just like when we have a thermostat in the home set at 60 degrees and the temperature rises, immediately the AC kicks in and tries to bring the temperature back to some 65, 66, whatever it is. And if the temperature drops, the heater kicks in and brings that temperature back to that thermostat set temperature. In the same way, each one of us has a set thermostat created by our own Prakriti. Each one of us, our Antakarana, comes with its own peculiar way of functioning. The same parents give birth to two children and Asman Jamin no farak hoy. They are so different. Our kids are so different, and we wonder what happened over here. But they come with their own vasanas, and certain vasanas have their prabalta. And that prabalta acts upon this equipment because that equipment was designed to apprehend those. So Bhagavan is saying that whatever these climatic conditions of the samashti and vyashti are, they are set. Matta eveti tan vitti. They are born out of me. If we look at the four yugas, we have Satyug, we have Treta Yuga, we have Dwapar Yuga, and then we have Kali Yuga. And we have Satyuga, where the rishis were contemplative. We have Treta Yuga, where the Praja was, contemplation was turning more into action. So the sattvic disposition was going more towards Rajas. There came the Dwapar Yuga. It was the height of Rajas. And the end of Dwapar Yuga gives us the Mahabharata War. It is the height of Rajoguna. Not just Rajoguna, but intense Rajas mixed with Tamoguna. Because Rajoguna is there in Treta Yuga as well, but it is a Yuga of Lord Rama. Dharma prevails. And then we have Bhagavan Krishna in Dwapar Yuga, where Bhagavan Krishna, Maya Manusha Vigraha, he has to use all the power that he can with this intense Rajoguna mixed with Tamas. And then we have Kali Yuga, which is heading more towards Ghora Tamas. Now, when we wake up in the morning, naturally, because we are all well rested, we are in sattvic disposition. We have coffee and tea, and the Rajoguna rises in the afternoon. Have lunch, and we feel like siesta in the middle of the day. And as the afternoon increases, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, no work sounds good. We head for home. And as the evening progresses after dinner, just want to sit on lazy boy furniture with Netflix in front of us. Many a times, people fall asleep even before either the show or the movie is over. This is a Ghor Tamas takes in. So we can see the whole day, the movement in the Prakriti itself, from Sattva to Tamo, and then night necessarily has to come in to reset everything. Control, Alt, Delete for Prakriti has to come in so that Brahma Muhurtam can arrive again. This is the cycle of creation. The yugas are all moving towards Kali Yuga, and eventually it will come to an end. Only for the creative cycle to start all over again. The totality is measured in millions and billions of years. And the individuality, Purna Ayu, is Vimshottari, 120 years. Vimshottari Dasha is also there. Bhagavan Krishna had Purna Ayu. He lived 120 years. So Bhagavan says, in Vijnan, learn to see that everything which is presented in front of us, yechaiva satvika bhavaha rajasas tamasaschaye matta eveti tan viddhi. Come to understand matta eva tan viddhi. Tan, all of them, they have viddhi, they have arisen from me and me alone. So when we look at this creation and we see all sorts of things in it, the Rajasic, the Tamasic, the Sattvic, we should not be perturbed by the Rajoguni and the Tamoguni, because that is part of the created world. But Bhagavan says the next statement, the fourth quarter of the shloka, is actually a Mahavakya. He says, Natu aham teshu te mayi. I am the support of these gunas. But what the gunas have become, I am not that. They are in me, I am not in them. For example, Duryodhan. The Prakriti of Duryodhan has predisposed him towards an ugly personality. But still, Purushartha is in his hand. He can still choose to be good. Thus, at the end of his life, he said, I know what is dharma, but I never went towards it. And I know what is dharma. I know what is adharma, but that alone I went after. Knowledge was there, he didn't act upon it. Janami dharma, nateshu mama pravrittihi. Janami adharma, tadeva mama pravrittihi. He says this in Mahabharata. So when he knows what is adharma, and only that he could act upon, how can Bhagavan be in that? This is what Bhagavan is saying. The whole world exists in him. But he doesn't exist in the conditions that we have created. What we have created, we necessarily have to go through all those karma vasanas. Thus, it is of utmost importance that we act upon Vijnan, upon acquiring Jnanam. This is what Bhagavan is saying over here. That if we acquire knowledge and we don't act upon it, Bhagavan says, I am not in the mess you have created. That is your mess. You deal with it. Yes, I am your support. Pancha Mahabhutas and all trillions of cells which are there. And each functional brain cell that you have, utilize it. If you don't utilize it, what am I to do with it? This is very important. So important that we learn to exercise Vignan. This is what Bhagavan is saying. Narsi Mehta has written a very beautiful bhajan. Nanu sarkhu gokulyu vale vitthale vaikuntha ki dure. It is a profound bhajan. He says, Gokul, where Krishna arrived, and Krishna gave up, Bhagavan Mahavishnu gave up Vaikuntha to come and dwell in Gokul. But he says that the Gokul is none other than Go Nam Indriyani Kulaha. The accumulation of the senses is referred to as Gokul. And in this equipment, he has found Vaikuntha. And for that person who understands that Hari is over here, Vaikuntha is over here. And if Vaikuntha is over here, I better act like I'm in Vaikuntha. Then why am I not using the senses for what they're supposed to be used for? That is very profound statement made over here by Bhagavan, that I am, these gunas are in me, but I am not in them, because the admixture of these gunas have created a havoc in this creation. Each one of us has a unique thermostat set by the climatic conditions of our Vasanamaya Kosha, Karanamaya Kosha. But we don't have to be. We don't have to dance according to the tune of that. We don't have to be imprisoned by them. We can choose. That's the whole point about satsang. When we get knowledge, swalpamapi alpasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Little bit of dharma, proper understanding, it saves us from mahato bhayat, great fear of falling in this bhavakupa, the well of the universe. So again, Bhagavan over here has very beautifully said that if we do not utilize Vignan and we act upon our ignorance, your ignorance may be in me, but I am not in your ignorance. And since I'm not in your ignorance, guess what? Your problem, you deal with it. And then we don't go to a temple. Mathu Kutine Bhagavan Agaya Kyathi Badu Aigi. Hathe Karelu Haye Bage. If we've self-created, then we have to go through all this. But knowledge allows us to come out of it. Continuing. Tribhir gunamayair bhavaihi ebi sarvamidam jagat mohitam nabijanati mamebhyah paramavyayam. Now, samsara karana. What is the cause of the samsara? Like I said, outside is only the world, but the samsara is in the inside. How did this mess on the inside come about? Every Hindu talks about it. Kya kare samsar hai? Are kya samsar hai? जगत ही है, संसार तो नहीं है. संसार तो आपके दिमाग में फंसा हुआ है. Bhagavan now says, what is the cause of this? All types of things. Bhagavan says, tribihi gunaihi bhavaihi ebi sarvamidam jagat. This entire world is this entire world of these three gunas, mohitam. This jagat is completely deluded. Na abhijanati, and they don't come to know that mam ebhya param avyayam, that I am beyond this entire pluralistic existence. Beyond that, I am that absolute. I can understand for the person who doesn't understand about the higher. But if we know that he alone is the support of all, and we still fall, then Bhagavan says, you have asked for it. You have asked for it. Deluded by all these natures of Abhi, Tribhi, Gunamayahi, this deluded by the fascination of the world of the objective reality of people, situations, and objects and all this. When we chase all these things, we continue to chase, not realizing, what am I chasing? What am I going to get out of it? Is this my purpose? Na abhijanati. Bas, the next door neighbor John is doing it, I have to do it. Badi achhi baat ho gayi. There's a Tesla parked in their parking lot, I should have it. This type of, keeping up with the Joneses next door, quote unquote, the American idiom, without even understanding, gets us into royal hot mess. And this is how we incubate our vasanas, Bhagavan says. This is the reason why samsara enters. Fascination for objects and people and situation. Imagine a 22-year-old boy, बस मैं तो उसके साथ ही शादी करने वाला हूं. Finished, cannot do anything. What will those parents reason with such a child? करो तो और क्या? So, when we make up such drid nishchay in our mind about a person, an object, a situation, a career, whatever it may be, it actually becomes the source of our downfall and future janmas. This is what Bhagavan says, that not knowing that this objective reality is a trap, that alone is a cause of samsara. Then Bhagavan says, how is the samsara nivrutti? How do I come out of it? Samsara karan was shown last shloka. Now shloka number 14, samsara nivrutti. Devi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayametam taranti te. So Devi hi esha gunamayi. This maya gunamayi, mama maya, Bhagavan says, my maya. Because remember, it is Shuddha Brahma, then Karan Brahma, and Karya Brahma. Shuddha Brahman is Nirguna. Karan Brahman takes the form of none other than Ishvara. And Ishvara, as Ishvara, he requires a support for the multiplicity to come out. So Maya becomes his consort. So Maya is known as Mrs. Brahman. So when Mrs. Brahman and Karan Brahman, when they go out for a stroll, they create Ananta Koti Brahmand. And their children are the Jiva Rashis. And these Ananta Koti Jiva Rashis, what we call 33 crore Jiva Rashis, all of these Jivas, Bhagavan says, Mama Maya Duratyaya. Why? Devi, she has some inexplicable Daivic power. That word Devi is very powerful. Because what is not, she makes it possible. The whole Tantra Shastra can be brought out from this word Devi. This is very powerful. Bhagavan says, my consort, she's not ordinary. She's very powerful. He refers to her as Devi with great amount of power. And Bhagavan says, Mameva ye prapadyante. Those who bow down to me, Maya metam tarantite. She will give them a visa to go across her. But if we don't take support of Bhagavan, she will make us spin. So the samsara nivrutti is understanding, number one, jnanam about Bhagavan. Because over here, mam eva prapadyante, those who surrender to me. So mam, when he says me, we have to know who is he. That is called jnana. And prapadyante, surrender. What is surrender? How do I surrender to someone whom I have just known and understood but not met? It's easy to surrender to a teacher, to a husband, to a wife, to mother or a father or anyone. They are known. But Parabrahma, Paramatma, knowing only the four Swarupa Lakshana, Sat Swarup, Chit Swarup, Ananda Swarup and Ananta Swarup, how do I come to surrender? That is where Shraddha is required. Because she's Daivi. She's inexplicable power. The inexplicable power which has created this colossal universe, only that can create a faith to come out of it. So the support that we seek from Devi is, bless me. And her blessings come as Shraddha. The more we surrender to her husband, the greater she gives us Shraddha, which turns into Bhakti. And with Shraddha and Bhakti, our prapatti, our surrender becomes complete. That is, Mamevaye prapadyante, mayametam tarantite. Such people are able to, taranti, they are able to cross. They are able to swim across, cross across a vast ocean of delusion. Mama Maya Duratyaya, over here, this is delusion. Maya is a very powerful force. Avyaktanamni Paramesha Shakti. Shankaracharya ji gives the definition of Maya in Viveka Chudamani. She is of the nature of unmanifest. Paramesha Shakti, she's a power of Ishvara. And for a person to bow down to Bhagavan. Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa used to give an example. When a fisherman goes in the river to catch fishes and he throws the net, he throws the net with such a power. The net falls far away from where he is standing in the waters. So necessarily all the fishes which are far away from the fisherman are caught, but the ones swimming by his feet are not caught. That is called Mameva ye prapadyante. The ones who are by the feet of Ishvara, the net of Maya cannot touch them. But the ones who are far away from Ishvara, they get caught. Beautiful example Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa used to give. So that is what is mentioned over here. Now, different types of people. Namam dushkrutino mudhaha prapadyante naradhamaha mayaya pahruta jnanaha asuram bhavamashritaha. Bhagavan says mudhaha. those who have acquired a PhD degree in stupidity. That's what Gurudev used to say. Doctorates in stupidity. In Sanskrit, it sounds very good. Mudhaha. So, Mudhaha, the deluded ones. Bhagavan says, Mudhaha dushkrutinaha. One is the ones who have drunk the elixir of Maya. So they are drunk. And not only that, but dushkrutinaha. One is drunkard who just falls on the street outside a bar. But the other drunkard who tries to grab a woman and mistreat her. That drunkard, dushkrutinaha, who has ill intentions and does bad things. So, mudaha, dushkrutinaha, naradamaha, nareshu adamaha, the lowest among the men. Who are these? Mayaya apakruta jnanaha. Maya has as though stolen away their knowledge. Apakrita jnanaha. Knowledge is gone. What to talk of wisdom? Knowledge itself is not there. And such people, asuram bhavam ashritaha. Those people, they succumb to the demonical races. Asuram bhavam. Asuri pravrutti. Bhavam ashritaha. Bhagavan says, na mam prapadyante. They will not come to me at all. It is true. The ones who have weaknesses for substance or any type of dependence on any vyakti, vastu and paristhiti. Anytime we find ourselves dependent upon the pluralistic world, be very careful. Maya Devi is working her powers through us. We have to be alert and vigilant. That is why there is a need for Vijnana. Otherwise, we will fall. We will fall. We will fall big time. Bhagavan also cannot help us then. Because he has clearly said, you make a mess, you are in that mess. I am not in that mess. But the ones who are surrendered to me, they come out of this Maya. So over here, we have to be very, very vigilant. So when we say dushkrutinaha, those are papinaha, the ones who are the ones who positively hurt others. Knowledge is abducted, but then that behavior positively hurts others. That is complete tamoguna, adama aghora tamoguna. Then comes naradamaha, the worst among them. They are also atyanta tamoguni. Then mayaya apakruta jnanaha, those whose mind have been hijacked. The knowledge has been hijacked. Okay, chalo, knowledge is not there, but some common sense is there. So these are called this rajas, tamas, prakriti. And asuram, extreme indulgence, which loots us off of all of our vitality. So Bhagavan is painting pictures of various type of people, extreme dependence on sense indulgence, the ones whose knowledge has been abducted, and not only that, the ones upon that being abducted, they act upon the pluralistic world in a papachara karma. And what do I say, Arjuna? Such people, then they complain about the uniqueness of samsara. What right do they have to complain about samsara? They've brought it upon themselves. Continuing, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukrutinarjuna arto jignasu artharthi gnani cha bharatarshabha. Bhagavan says, now 4 types of devotees, they come to worship me. Now the subject matter of the lower ones are over. Now there's a gradation amongst even the astikya buddhi, the ones who believe in Bhagavan. And the gradation of this astikya buddhi, the one who has a positive belief system, what are they? We will see this tomorrow. The ones who surrender to Bhagavan. What kind of peoples come to surrender to Bhagavan? Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om and Jai Shri Krishna.
Namaste. Hari Om. Hari Om. Good. We will meet tomorrow.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Yes. Namaste. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Namaste. Hari Om.
Thank you all. So tomorrow
Namaskar.
we'll meet at 7:45.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Jagdish uncle.